Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on Gran Turismo Sport, and we're back with an incredible daily race at one of sim racing's hardest combinations, Bathurst at night time. This was a very tricky combination. So we're driving the Group 4 cars, I'm driving the Ferrari, we have Fento in front of us in the Ford Mustang, and Fire, one of GT Sport's fastest drivers, also driving the Ferrari up there. So if you do enjoy these videos, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, let me know in the comment section what you thought about this race, and yeah, let's get on with this battle. So we're starting from P3 obviously. Yeah, for some reason every single race we did at this combination, lap 1 I was having a real difficult time with the slightly colder tyres. Now obviously this race was on the Racing hard tyres with the Ferrari, so yeah, the tyres were a little bit colder for lap 1. It took a little bit of time for me to get a bit of heat in them and seem to be able to get a bit of confidence in the car. I probably was pushing a little bit too hard on lap 1. As you can see, every single race this happened, we just lost a lot of time to the top 2. But our pace was pretty strong here during this week of daily racing, so I knew that if we really push, we should be able to get back up towards them if they start battling. Obviously Fire is absolutely rapid on GT Sport, so it's going to be very difficult. We've got Momo's behind us also there, so one thing we didn't want to do was start getting in a battle and lose time with Momo's, but Momo's has been very good recently. Actually been doing very good racecraft, driving very clean, and yeah, it seems like a completely changed person. It's actually really good to see, to be honest. So working our way through the top of the hill, you can see we've lost nearly a 2-second gap to P2 and over 2 seconds to Fire in the lead. Working our way on the downhill section though, what we need to happen here is we need P1 and P2 to start battling their way at the front of this race. But yeah, this section was so scary. In the dark, driving downhill in the Ferrari, obviously a little bit loose on the rear end. We found that -1 brake bias really did help the Group 4 Ferrari at Bathurst. It felt really good, especially on the hard tyres. It created a little bit of stability on that downhill section, while still giving it very good handling through the fast corner. So on the downhill section now, you can see that Fire has lost the lead. I think he might have clipped the wall on the exit possibly, and Fento has took the lead into P1. Now I'm not sure if Fire was lifting a little bit on the straight here to try and give us the slipstream back. I'm not 100% sure, but as we come through here, Fire runs a little bit wide there, kicking up some dust, and we're actually in the slipstream very briefly, I think, there to Fire, but we're going to probably lose it as soon as we go through this final corner there. So yeah, in P3 we're back in this battle. We've managed to catch back up. You can see Fento's now about 1.4 seconds ahead of us. We've got Fire just slightly, I think, is he just in the slipstream or just outside the slipstream there? And yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. We can see we're starting to drop Momo's behind the series, 1.3 seconds, 1.4 seconds behind. So hopefully we can carry on pulling away from them, and it looks like it's going to be a 3-car battle for the win in this race. So it's going to get very interesting as we work our way up the hill. We can see we have got a bit of slipstream there on the uphill section into this tricky right hand corner where you want to try and keep it as close to that curb as possible and get on the power and use the full width of the track. We absolutely nailed that corner there. And now into this, again, another tricky section where you've got to hit the braking point precisely at the right time and then let the car rotate through that corner on the power. And you can see this is actually looking like quite a nice lap so far. We've got the slipstream to Fire, who also has the slipstream to Fento, and we're actually gaining on Fire a little bit here as we work our way on the top of the hill. This is, again, a very tricky section in the night time. You've got to be careful not to hit the wall on the outside, and again, throwing the car into this fast left-hand corner as close as you can to the wall, and yeah, carrying some very good speed through there. And now into the downhill section. This section is absolutely brilliant. Even at night time, I love it. It's just so intense. You know, one little mistake, one little clip on the wall, and your lap is ruined. You can see it getting almost into the wall there, but just about managing to keep the car on the track, and then into this very tricky last corner where you want to get on the power as early as possible. We managed to hook that up quite nicely there, and we still just about have the slipstream to Fire's there as we work our way on the downhill section. You can see that Fire's got a very good slipstream to Fento there in front of him, and we are just dropping out the slipstream. Now this is where I think Fire might have actually been lifting off the throttle to make sure that we stay in the slipstream here. I'm not too sure, unless he was just lifting to save tyres possibly into the braking zone. I'm not 100% sure. He might have been doing tyre saving, because Fire is very good, one of the best at tyre saving on GT Sport. So as we look through there, you can just see how close the battle is between ourselves in the top 3 here, going into the final corner. And to complete another lap here, we go through the final corner. We actually do quite a nice lap on this. I think it's a 2 minute 12.6, which was actually a very strong lap at this combination when it was on. I think normally with no slipstream you'd be doing 13 zeros to 12.9, something like that. So yeah, 12.6, obviously slipstream assisted. Still a very solid lap now as we work away up the hill to start lap 3. And you can see Fire is going to go for a possible move on Vento, but I don't think the Ferrari has enough guts in it to get past the Mustang. Mustang was a little bit faster on the straights, so Vento manages to hold on to that position in the lead there in that yellow Mustang. And now that's brought us a little bit closer there now, though obviously Vento had to get himself back over to the racing line, and that's probably compromised him slightly by a tenth or so, and that's meant we're right up behind Fire now as we work our way up the hill again, up to the top of the mountain, and again through this very tricky combination at night time. I wish that more tracks on Gran Turismo Sport actually had this nighttime condition, like Nordschleife for example has got it, but it'd be great if we had it at Spa, you know, Fuji, every track. It'd be so much fun. I would love to be doing that at night time. I think it's something that is going to really make Gran Turismo 7 so much more appealing when we've got some of the, you know, that we don't know how many tracks it is, or whether it's all tracks with dynamic time of day. We know that some tracks have dynamic weather and some don't. At the moment, that's the information we have for Gran Turismo 7, but we don't know whether every track has dynamic time of day. I would hope that every track has dynamic time of day. Now, fingers crossed that is something that stays. Let's just wait and hear some information back from that. But yeah, I am thinking of doing a video soon to do with all the information that is out there for Gran Turismo 7, so we're going to probably get that sorted for you soon. As we work our way down the hill now, we see Fire is going for a move on Vento. This is going to be an interesting one. They're probably going to battle it out into this chicane, so we're going to brake nice and early, make sure that we don't get too close. And as we come through here, Fire goes a little bit wide, tiny bit of contact there with Vento. We have a little look up the inside. We're not going to be able to go for that move. This is an incredible race now. So we got Fire who's going to defend now on the inside, but he's going to have dirty tyres. I try and do a little fake there up the inside just to put Vento off a little bit and try and get a strong exit from this corner. You can see that Fire has got a weak exit there with them dirty tyres, and we have a little look up the inside here. I was thinking about it and then I thought, no, we'll just back off, brake early and try and get a strong exit for going up this hill. As we see there, Fire just about manages to keep it on the track. There's no point me trying to overtake Fire at this point, so we just give him a little nudge there, because if we would have pulled out the slipstream, he had the slipstream to Vento and we wouldn't have gained any positions anyway. So yeah, just give Fire a little nudge up the hill and then back over to the racing line. And you can see Fire is going to try and go around the outside. Is he going to make that work? I think he decides to brake a little bit earlier and just try and take the normal racing line through the corner. But just look how close this is as we work our way up the hill. This is brilliant. You can see in P4 there, starting to drop back. We've got quite a solid lead over them, but just look at this. You could throw a blanket over all three cars in this race. And again, I say it so many times, but this is why I love Gran Turismo Sport, because this is the racing that you can get at any you can go into a race every half an hour and it's likely you're going to be able to get battles like this, especially in the top lobbies. You go onto another game like Assetto Corsa on PS4 and you'll be struggling to find a car to drive against, let alone a good race. Same with the F1 games, and it's really frustrating that these other games like Formula 1 games, etc., are not concentrating their efforts on multiplayer, because if they did, the F1 games could be brilliant along with other games. I'm hopeful for Forza that they're going to do something similar by the sounds of it. I've read some information from GT Planet and some other sites. It does look like they're going to be aiming at a Gran Turismo type of system as we make a move on Fire there as he hits the wall. But yeah, it's whether they actually pull it off or not with Forza, and obviously with their wheel support. I'm very skeptical. We'll wait and see. Hopeful though, the more good online racers out there, the better in my personal opinion. Yeah, so working our way downhill now, you can see Fire is actually bump drafting us there. I think he's, instead of battling out, he wants to try and get us back into the slipstream of Vento. So we're going to have to try and push here, working our way through there. We really run a little bit wide there onto the gravel, onto the grass, and actually lose a little bit of time. But Fire's going to give us another bump draft there as he really hooked that corner up and now into the final corner. So trying to really get to grips now and see if we can catch up to Vento. We've got 1.2 seconds to catch him up. Vento was actually flying on this combination during this week, doing some very, very good race times and lap times. He was really enjoying driving that Mustang around here. But what we did notice though was that the Mustang faded towards the last 2 laps of the race. We worked this out in the previous races. We had other races where we had managed to catch him up on the last few laps. So We've got 1.3, 1.4 second gap to Fento. Can we manage to catch that up? We've got Fire giving us a little bump draft on the straight every now and then, which is going to help us gain half a tenth to a tenth of a second going up the hill. Through here, there's not much Fire can really do because you can't really bump draft anyone too close to the corners, and also on the top of the hill, it's very difficult to really bump draft anyone around that section. It's mainly just the uphill section and the downhill section on the main straights. That's the only places you can really get away with doing it. So working our way through here, completely flat out in the Ferrari, no need to lift through there. A little brief lift at the top here as we chuck it in. You see just a tiny little lift there off the throttle, then back onto the throttle, close as you can to the wall, and again chucking the car into this apex, trying to get the car as close to the wall so you can carry as much speed through that corner. Then aggressively throwing the car on this downhill section, down to second gear, get the car into the apex, cut a little bit of this corner off, car almost drifting through there, absolutely nailed that time there, and you can see Fire about 5 tenths behind us there, also pushing hard behind, and we have Fento that we've managed to gain a few tenths on this lap. Now trying to get a strong exit from that corner, you can see we gained about 1.5 to 2 tenths on him on this lap. And now this is where we need Fire to give us a bump draft. However, Fire is a little bit further back there. I don't think he's going to be able to get into the bump drafting range. So we're going to have to just push and really drive aggressive and see if we can catch Fento up, I think, just through pace. But yeah, if I can get close for the main straight going up the hill, that's where a nice little bump draft could help. As you can see, Fire getting very close on the braking zone. And again, got a little bit out of shape myself through the chicane there. And that will lose you a vital tenth or so. You can see I think we lost a tenth to Fento there, but we've still gained on him overall on this lap. So we are gaining. Can we manage to catch him up before the end of this battle? So now, coming to the end of lap 5, we've got 3 more laps to go in this race, and this is where the Ferrari was a little bit stronger. From about this point onwards, I think the Ferrari was the preferred car for these last 3 laps in this race over the Ford. The Mustang, like I say, was probably equal or slightly stronger on the first few laps. However, after that, the Ferrari really did come strong, as we see Fire there giving us a nice little bump draft. He wants to get us in that slipstream to Fento. You can see we're not far away from it. We're only a few tenths away from picking up the slipstream to Fento, so it's getting very close. You can see this is where that Ford is going to start fading. So working our way through this left-hand corner, trying to get that wide angle in and trying to get on the power as early as we can. You see keeping the throttle inputs in there just to make sure that we carry the momentum through the corner. And now again flat out through this right hand corner in group 4 cars, no need to lift off the throttle there, and then flat out up here with a brief little lift like we said before, trying to really make sure that we nail these corners. You can see absolutely hooking that up this time, carrying good speed all the way up to the wall there without actually hitting it. And again staying close to the edge of the track, so close, you're almost on the edge of a spin when you're going through there every time. A really enjoyable combination. I'll have to say I really enjoyed this week of daily racing when it was on, driving at night time around this track, and I wish that it would be so good if we could drive other tracks that currently aren't available at night time. It was an enjoyable one. So yeah, maybe Nordschleife at night again could pop up. I'd actually enjoy that in group 4 like we had in the daytime one, but at night time I think that would actually be quite entertaining in group 4s again. So come on PD, give us that combination back. I absolutely loved that week. So now, not far, we can see we're only so close to the slipstream, we're not even a tenth away. So yeah, if we just manage to hook a corner up here, or he makes a slight mistake, we should be able to briefly get the slipstream as we come through there. And again, just look at that, we both pretty much take the corner at the exact same speed. And now into the final corner, can we manage to get into the slipstream? We know the Ferrari is quite strong on this final corner, so getting on the power as early as we can, and we can see we just pick up the slipstream there, I think, very briefly. However, will we be able to stay in that slipstream after we come out of turn 1? Obviously turn 1, a little bit of loss of aero if we're in that slipstream, trying to stay on the power. We run a little bit wide there, and you can see that he is pulling away there slightly. We have got the slipstream very, very briefly here. Will we be able to stay in it? We've just about managed to stay in his slipstream, I think, there, working our way up the hill and into turn 2. So Fire there behind us, that's why he can't obviously get the bump draft on the straight, because we've got the slipstream to Fento. And now we've just got to keep pushing, as you see, through that right hand corner, just holding on to the slipstream at this stage. We need to just push a little bit more and get within 6 tenths, 5 tenths of him, and then we should be able to be really pushed along with that slipstream. So again, you can see Fento is really pushing his hardest at this stage. He really wants to try and keep us out of the slipstream, because we've only got a lap and a half to go in this race. This is going to be an intense and interesting end to this daily race C at Bathurst. A really enjoyable race, I have to say. I really enjoyed this one. This was super tense. We did this live on stream as well. It was such a tense race. So now, going into the downhill section, can we manage to get closer? This is where the Ferrari, at this stage, did feel a little bit stronger than the Mustang, especially with the front end of the car. And you can see everyone kicking up dust from the track. Fire running a little bit wide there. I think he's actually hit the wall, and he's actually lost the slipstream. So if we can get a really strong exit from this corner now and get on the power nice and early, we might be able to break that slipstream. We have done. So now, can we go for a move on Fento? We've got a nice slipstream with 4 attempts behind him. This is going to be in range because the Ferrari is actually quite strong in the slipstream, especially when it gets into 7th gear. You see Fento doing a little fake to try and break the slipstream. And now we're going to go pick up that slipstream. Which way are we going to go? To the right or to left? Fento's going to stay to the right, I think, and try and take the normal line. We're going to brake late and take that position. I think Fento almost deliberately gave that position up, probably in the hope that he can get us back on the final lap. So a risky strategy by ourselves, taking the lead, not on the final lap. We're gonna have to hold him off and really push like crazy on this final lap. So into the final corner, on the throttle as early as we can, and now pushing as hard as we can. And just look how close this is. Fire has managed to get back right up behind Fento. So look at this final lap of the race, and look at them 3 cars. Absolutely insane racing going on here as we push right to the limit there, kicking up the dust from the ground. And now we're going to stay to the right hand side of the track as we've got Fento, who's going to try and probably go down the left hand side. This is a very difficult move to make, to try and go around the left hand side of this right hand corner. So we're just going to try and keep it as tight as we can to the apex. So braking as late as we can into the apex, staying as close as we can. Fento just cannot hold it round the outside there. Now Fire's going to have a little look up the right hand side of Fento, and this is going to get very tricky behind this, and I'm not sure if Fire there nearly loses control, just about manages to hang on, and we just about managed to hang on to the lead of this race. A proper intense race going on here. Fento right behind us now on the final lap. This is where we're going to have to really push like crazy to see if we can stay ahead and build a bit of a gap up. We know the Ferrari is very strong on the final sector, so pushing like crazy, see if we can build that gap up to about half a second. That might be enough to give us enough of a lead going onto the back straight. We know we need at least half a second, so this is where we are absolutely pushing it through here. You can see, I think Fire might have had a little issue there. You can see he just hit the wall there and then hits the other wall. So Fire is going to be out of this battle as he just clips the wall on the downhill section where he's really trying to push to get into Fento's slipstream and obviously try and see if he can go for a move for the win of the race. But now we've managed to do that really nice, and we've managed to get just over half a second lead. That might be enough to hold us, because we actually got a really strong exit from the corner also. So Fento picking up the slipstream, now 4 tenths behind, but will he be close enough to go for a move into the braking zone for the chicane? I'm not sure he's going to be. So he's now 3 tenths behind, but we're into the corner and into the braking zone. It looks like we've got this position held off there, and now just got to make sure we do this corner nice and smooth, don't make any mistakes, and then into the final corner. You can see Fento still just over 2 tenths behind us. Into the braking zone, we should be okay as long as we hook this up. Fento has a little look up the inside there, but he's a little bit too far back. He was just probably trying to scare us a little bit, and we managed to hook that final corner up and take a very well-earned win. And what a race that was, everyone. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed that race. I thoroughly enjoyed being involved with this race with Fire and Fento. Great competitors, clean racers, and a really enjoyable daily race C. And remember, if you do want to see more races like this and live streams, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and yeah, we'll be back with more of these videos very soon. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.